we are going to talk once again about the story that has captured the national imagination. It's a tragedy. It's a tragedy, viewers, that was entirely avoidable. It was tragedy brought on by a vicious campaign of disinformation spread by a group of individuals looking to target one particular ideology. This culmination of this long-standing conspiracy has resulted in the unfortunate death of Harsha. 2 nights ago, Harsha was brutally lynched by a mob. The police have made 6 arrests. The faces of the alleged suspects are today splashed across all TV screens. To the left of your screens, viewers, you are seeing these individuals who have been unmasked for a crime that they have allegedly committed, a hate crime. Let me hasten to add. The police told the waiting media that the motive for the crime was still unclear, still a mystery. In fact, despite having detained the individuals and despite having questioned them at length, the police inexplicably continues to be cagey. Why? Why, viewers? Before we come to this question, listen in to what the police have said on record. Listen.
A1 Mohammad Kashif, A2 Syed Nadeem, A3 Asifullah Khan, A4 Rihan Sharif, A5 Nihan, A6 Abdul Afnan. ಸೊ ಈಗ A1 ಪಾತ್ರ A1 ಅವನೇ ಮುಖ್ಯ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು ಕಾಶಿಫ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಮತ್ತೆ ಯಾರ್ಯಾರು ಅಟ್ಯಾಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅಸಾಲ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಸೊ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು 4 ಜನರಲ್ಲಿ 4 ಜನ ಇವತ್ತು ಅರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
ಸರಿ, 4 ಜನ ಟೋಟಲ್ 6.
ಸೊ A1, A3, A4 ಮತ್ತೆ A5 ಇವರೆಲ್ಲ ಸೇರಿ ಅಟ್ಯಾಕ್ ಮಾಡಿರೋದು. ಉಳಿದೇ ಇರೋರು ಇವ್ರಿಗೆ ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
ಇನ್ನೊಂದ್ಸಲಿ ಹೇಳಿ.
A1, A3, A4, A5 ಇವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅಟ್ಯಾಕ್ ಮಾಡಿರೋದು. A1, A3, A4, A5. A2 ಮತ್ತೆ A6 ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಪಿರಸಿ ರೋಲ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಇಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಿದೆ. ಬಟ್ ಇನ್ನ ಫರ್ದರ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟಿಗೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಏನು ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ ರೋಲ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಕಂಡು ಬರುತ್ತೆ.
The police has studied ambiguity on the motives, at least in public, has given many members of the so-called left, liberal, activist lobby the perfect excuse to play down the gravity of this crime. Past enmity. Yes, past enmity has become the buzzword to suggest that the lynching was devoid of a communal motive. This attempt to perhaps play down the underlying reason for Harsha's killing has greatly upset Harsha's family and those that want a justice, not just culminating in the arrest of those that allegedly lynched him, viewers, but also a justice that is verifiably equitable. You know, they always say that justice must be done, but it also must seem to be done. This is no ordinary crime. This falls in a category of a very different kind of killing. Listen first to the family that have spelt out 3 reasons why Harsha, according to them, was hacked brutally to death. Listen to this.
ನನಗೇನೋ ಅವ್ನು ಹೇಳ್ತಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್. ಅವನು ಆಚೆ ಕಡೆ ಏನು ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಥಾಟ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಏನಾದರೂ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಅದು ಎಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ ಮನೇದು ಮಾತ್ರ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದ ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ. ಹೊತ್ತು ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ತಮ್ಮ ಹಿಂದುತ್ವಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋರಾಡ್ತಾನೆ, ಅವ್ನು ಸಮಾಜ ಸೇವೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ, ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿತ್ತು. ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಅವ್ರು ಹಂಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಇವ್ರು ಹಿಂಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಯಾವತ್ತೂ ಹೇಳಿಲ್ಲ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್. ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ
ಬಂದ ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ, ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆಯಪ್ಪ ಅಂದೆ, ಏನು ಅಡುಗೆ ಮಾಡಿದೆ ಅಂದ. ನಾನು ತಿಳಿ ಸರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅಂದೆ. ಊಟ ತೊಗೊಂಬರ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ದ. ಹ್ಞೂ ಸರಿ ಪುಟ್ಟ ತೊಗೊಂಡು ಬೇಗ ಬಾ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದೆ. ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಹುಡುಗರೆಲ್ಲ ಓಡಿ ಬಂದರು. ಆಂಟಿ ಹರ್ಷ ಎಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾನೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ, ಈಗ ಊಟ ತರಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದಾನೆ ಕಣ್ರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಇಲ್ಲ ಆಂಟಿ ಹರ್ಷ ಇಲ್ಲ ಏನೇನೋ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಸರ್ ಆಂಟಿ ಜನ ಅಂತ. ತಕ್ಷಣ ನನ್ನ ಮಗನಿಗೆ ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ ನಾನು. ಹರ್ಷ ಅಂದು 2 ಸಲ ರಿಂಗ್ ಆಯಿತು, ಫೋನ್ ರಿಸೀವ್ ಮಾಡಲಿ. ಅಷ್ಟೊತ್ತಿಗೆ ನಡೆದು ಹೋಗಿತ್ತೇನೋ ಮೇಡಮ್, ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ.
You heard the family, viewers. They've summed it up thus: that he was hacked for being a Hindu, for doing social service related to Gau Raksha and other Hindu causes, and therefore had antagonized others. Also for being a votary of gender equality and societal uniformity, and therefore for stridently opposing the hijab. Now, the 3 motives alluded to by the family raise some important questions that set up the debate on this issue, viewers. The first question: is past enmity being invoked as a convenient way to not address the claims of Harsha's family that have alluded very directly to the motives? Question 2: if Harsha hadn't been a Hindu, would the so-called left liberal activist lobby had been so squeamish about calling his death a hate crime? And viewers, if Hindus who lynch Muslims are referred to as hate mongers, why are Harsha's alleged killers not being characterized as such in the same way? 3 basic questions. 3 basic questions, viewers, and I don't want to, let me tell you, viewers, I don't want to play out the sound bites that we have heard today from various political parties. They are playing a role which is not constructive. So I'm not going to. And I hope tonight that all political parties and commentators understand that truth is central to the conversation we are having today, because without truth there can be no reconciliation. You see, viewers, in the past, when tensions have existed between either races, castes, or communities, one suggestion has been repeatedly made: let's hold a Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Let's bring people to speak the truth and face the truth, and then find answers to the truth so that we can bury the hatchet. That is what has been said. But viewers, when the truth stands like an elephant in the room and no one wants to see it, reconciliation becomes problematic, exceedingly problematic. So let me open this up, viewers, in the hope that tonight all panelists speak the truth, the raw truth, and nothing but the truth. I want to first begin with a comment from Shehzad Poonawala, national spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Mr. Poonawala, what do you make of this catchphrase, this buzzword? And you might have heard me refer to it. It's called past enmity. Why is this being bandied about so much? I didn't hear this being bandied about when Kashmiri Hindus were driven out of their homes. There was an allusion to it, I know. There was an allusion to it by certain commentators about, you see, how there was some kind of ingrained dislike of a community like the Kashmiri Hindu community because they had a monopoly over resources. I know all of that. But that never really made its way into the official account. Today, this word, past enmity, it appears to me, has become a convenient way of not addressing the claims that are being made by Harsha's family. Why do you think this is the case? And we saw this to some extent even in the Lavanya case, Mr. Poonawala.
Rahul, whether it is the tragic, brutal murder of Harsha, or whether it is the death of Lavanya, whether it is the killing of Hiralal, whether it is the killing of Kamlesh Tiwari, Khetaram Bhil, Yogesh Jatav, all of these crimes, all of them are only and only a byproduct and a result of the ecosystem of the rabid, radical, Hindu-phobic hatred that is peddled and is spread and is continuously prevailing all around us. And there is no doubt in my mind that Harsha, whose parents' version in the FIR has been included, that because Harsha was working for the nation, because Harsha was an unapologetic Hindu, and being an unapologetic Hindu only means taking up the causes for the nation, because of that, there were certain elements, and some of them have been arrested, and there are pages and Facebook pages that were issuing him threats, like the Mangalore Muslim page and others who have been booked under 153A. Those were responsible directly, and even the ecosystem of hatred that has been created over various issues, including the hijab issues, where you saw Mukarram Khan come out and say, "Main boti kar dunga," and that's exactly what happened with Harsha. There is no doubt in my mind that this is a radical, anti-Hindu, rabid, Hindu-phobic hate crime. And when somebody in the legal or in the police department has called it as a personal enmity, I am sure that the only interpretation of that is the fact that he was getting multiple serious threats from radical Islamist groups from a very long period of time from that area, targeting him for his work, identifying him for his work, and then perhaps leading to what has happened to him. So there is no doubt in my mind that even when the personal enmity has been used, this is only in the context of the rabid ecosystem of Hindu hatred that has been created. But Rahul, we must not forget that the larger ecosystem of Hindu hatred, over which many panelists sitting here, Rashmi Samant and the others have spoken about openly, the fact of the matter is that when you target Hindutva day in and day out, when you demonize them, when you demonize an entire community, when you say that the killing of akhlaq is Islamophobic and the entire Hindu community should hold up a placard saying "not in my name," but when you have 50 to 100 Hindus being targeted by non-Hindu mobs, and you have secular silence, not a single word is spoken, that legitimization of their death as if their lives don't matter, that ecosystem of hatred that has been created and drilled in us day in and day out against Hindutva, that needs to be called out today as well, because this is not just an issue of law and order, Rahul. To reduce it to that would be the biggest injustice to the cause of Harsha today. This is an issue of ideological hatred. Harsha was killed because of the ideology he pursued. And may I say that today those who do not call this as a Hindu hate crime are actually responsible for Harsha's murder in one way or the other.
Well, my colleague Imran is waiting to break a bit of news. I'll come to you, Imran, in just a few seconds. Let me first bring in Dr. Sumanth C Rehman to respond to what Shehzad Poonawala has said. Dr. Rehman, isn't hate a motive by itself? Isn't hate a motive by itself? And the BJP says that Hindu-phobic hysteria, and I'm trying to quote Shehzad Poonawala is noting what he was saying. BJP says the Hindu-phobic hysteria being whipped up by an ecosystem that is responsible for Harsha's death. How do you respond to this, Dr. Rehman?
Rahul, first of all, I think it is very unfair that a media trial is again happening, and this is clearly being done to, further polarize or spread hate. Look, I am very, very clear on this. The police themselves are on record. The DIG is on record as saying that they are suspecting a personal enmity to be behind the crime. This is a police in a BJP-ruled state. As far as I know, Karnataka has a BJP government. And the police there have clearly said that they are on record. It's not that they have been, and you yourself mentioned it at the start. All I'm saying is, give the investigation time to complete. Let us not carry out a media trial which vitiates the atmosphere even further. Okay. Now, Shehzad seems to have complete conviction as to why this crime happened and what was the root cause for it and all that. If he has some evidence, it would be ideal if he went and told his government's police, saying that, look, I have evidence that, So I think it's very unfair that without the police themselves, one would have expected the police, because they are part of, the BJP government, would have actually perhaps taken a stand which is more supportive of the party in power. But even they have not done that. And when they are saying that there is no evidence, or it may be personal enmity and the investigation is not complete, why are we jumping the gun?
Okay, one quick point I just want to make. Dr. Raman, you made some points. I just want to address one on the media before I bring in you, Shehzad Poonawala. Give me 30 seconds. On the media, viewers, I just want to say...
Just 15 seconds.
When a clerk was lynched, I sat here and all my viewers will testify to this, because, viewers, I never run away from the hard facts. When a clerk was lynched, or Pilu Khan was lynched, we sat here and demanded, and it's quite possible that Dr. Raman might have also been on these debates, and we asked for justice unequivocally from, so allow me please, just let me finish, unequivocally for the lynching. And when people were arrested, we said they should be put behind bars. When a minister's son was caught up in a very unfortunate Thar mowing down case of protesting Kisans, Times now sat and demanded action and said the following: justice must be done, but it also must seem to be done. When you let out on bail, viewers, Times now asked why this was happening. Is that a media trial, or is that asking for questions?
Sorry. Asking for justice to be done is perfectly acceptable. What is not is...
Rahul, may I just come in for a quick moment?
Okay, so 1 minute.
Rahul,
Dr. Raman, what we are asking for is justice to be done, but also seeing to be done. Same thing.
Justice must be
Harsha,
done.
the truth behind the obvious truth...
Let me just
allow me, sir, allow me. Allow me, sir, allow me. Just 1 second. The obvious facts must be put out on the table. In fact, in the Lavanya case, viewers, I was accused of once again holding a media trial, and this time against the officials of a school. It took the High Court, viewers, the High Court, to come in and say what people like yours truly was saying was right. No one is holding a media trial. Surely we must ask why there are double standards in dealing with hate crime. Let me finish, sir, please. Why there are double standards, and why are certain people, and that was one of the questions I asked. If Harsha hadn't been a Hindu, would the so-called left liberal activist lobby been so squeamish about calling his death a hate crime? I doubt it, viewers. They would have all said it's a hate crime. This is the rising tide of Hindu phobia that is consuming the nation, and the Prime Minister needs to explain. This is what would have been said. This is what would have been said. But no questions are being asked today, viewers.
Rahul, just 15
no
seconds,
questions are being asked when the family of Mr. Harsha... Please allow me, sir. Let me finish. I never interrupted you. I gave you your free
Rahul,
time. I never cut you off, sir. Please.
Against him. That's all. 2 cases are already pending against him. I hope you are aware.
Sir, please.
Rahul,
you know, we've even called out people like Mr.
couple of questions
Ram Rahim.
have been
Yes,
directed at
Shehzad Poonawala wants to respond on the BJP. I've set the record straight for the media. The media has a right to ask the questions,
Rahul, let me just quickly
has a
get
right
in,
to
please.
unequivocally
Rahul, I
demand
think it's
justice,
urgent.
and also the right to ensure that justice is being seen to be done. This is a standard practice and it is followed. I am not saying that any of those 6 young men who have been arrested are guilty of this crime. I have not passed a judgment.
Rahul, if I may now.
But there is hate at the back of it. Of that, we cannot ignore the family's claims. They are saying it is. But we are seeing...
For the police to investigate.
We are seeing an attempt being made to warp the edges of the conversation. Why, I don't know. Shehzad Poonawala, respond to Dr. Raman on the BJP.
Yeah, just 30 seconds. Just 30. Yeah. First of all, Rahul, you would remember, Rahul, that when the Tamil Nadu police was denying any kind of conversion angle and refused to take the dying declaration of Lavanya on record, it was the BJP that first came out and demanded a CBI probe. The matter went to not just High Court, even to Supreme Court, and we were vindicated. And we continue to stand with the family, even in this case of Harsha. If Harsha's family has a view, those who stand with families of akhlaq, today, why are they refusing to stand with the version of the family of Harsha? Why the double standard there? As far as our police is concerned, yes, we give 1 second. Rahul, let me answer. Rahul, please let me answer. Rahul, I am not in the habit of interrupting, and I don't like to be interrupted. Let me state the facts as it is. Rahul, as far as the police is concerned, we give the police a free hand, whether it's the Ahmedabad blast case, whether it is Kishan Bharwat case, which eventually went to the ATS, or whether it is this case. Let them investigate all angles so that no skeptic can raise a finger at us. But yes, today we stand with the family of Harsha, we stood with the family of Lavanya, we stood with the family of Ankit Sharma, we stood with the family of Dilbar Negi, and we are unapologetic. And I will tell you, Mr. Raman, the ideological motivations behind the killing of Harsha, the police will do its job, but we will crush this ideological hatred that's from which stems the deaths of Harsha and others. So have no doubts about it that we are ideologically opposed to this hate ecosystem that you create against Hindutva, and we will crush it. We will crush it with the force that we have.
Let me bring in 1 second. Let Imran
with all the force that
1 second. I need to go across. Let's. We are not running away from this debate, Dr. Raman. Let me just put this story out. There is a breaking development. I need to go across to Imran. Imran joins us now for more on this. Imran, breaking news coming in. I think we're just going to put it out on the plate also. There you are. Exclusive details now being accessed by Imran into the death probe. Now, Imran, the police have taken a view at a press conference that they addressed at around 5:30 this evening. What more can you add?
Well, Rahul, one thing is very clear that what they put out is very, very minute details of an entire case and episode. It is much bigger than what the SP was projected there. Top sources in the police department are very clear that this is not just some petty street crime. In fact, there was much, much more history to it, where past and present colluded together in the murder of Harsha on Sunday at 9 p.m. Now, Harsha, as the police set out, is very, very vocal about Hindutva causes. He was also active against cow slaughter issues. What we're seeing is that during the hijab row, Harsha was very active in this protest against the scarf and hijab inside classrooms. Now, he was seen very active in this in the mobilization, and also was seen someone that distributing shawls, saffron shawls, in the campuses. That one particular reason, what the cops are saying, telling us very exclusive information, that he was marked by group individuals who are there. These 6 individuals who have been caught had observed that Harsha had been very active and one of the main person in distribution of saffron shawls in the campuses. And earlier too, they had a history with them, where one of the time he was jailed for one of the when he was arrested, he was attacked too in the jail that time by Kashif, who was accused number 2 in this particular case. Now, the Kashif, when he got to know that Harsha was the one who was distributing shawls and he stand vocal about the hijab issue, he was marked, and they were planned him to eliminate him. Now, whether he was just these individuals or there is a force or groups behind it, the cops are intensively verifying their antecedents and backgrounds. Looking at it, what the cops have told us, these are just foot soldiers. The real masters are behind it, but to link it to any group, they are working on solid evidence proof to establish that.
So this is very interesting. What you're saying, Imran, is that the flashpoint, the trigger, was that Harsha was co-opted to distribute saffron shawls to make a point outside the colleges, and the members of the opposing group or protesting group or community or their supporters had a problem with that, and because he was already marked out by them, as you have said in the past, they decided to attack him. Is that really what the police seems to be suggesting? And when exactly are they going to come out with this on paper?
Well, absolutely, Rahul. This is a question we try to get a response directly from the SP and the district collector here, but somehow they are elusive about this question. Do not want to be asked, try to ask a fair, straight question on this, but somehow they seems to be elusive about answering this particular question. But if a senior officers who are at the helm of the affairs and who knows what the issue is, they told us this is the reason why he was murdered. But probably looking at the situation right now, and probably this information could flare up even more. They do not want to come out diverse details, but they're very clear that this is what the trigger was. In fact, they had a past with Harsha. They had earlier too had targeted Harsha. There was earlier attack also happened on Harsha, and one such attack Harsha escaped, and he by a very thin thing. And now the past and present colluded, especially his activeness in the anti-hijab movement, and where he was seen distributing shawls to the campuses, and that's the time he was marked.
Well,
and
this
where the
is
past and present came together, and that led to his murder on Sunday night at 9 p.m.
Well, this is a new twist to this entire plot, and it completely puts into context what the police actually mean by past enmity. Clearly, he was on a blacklist, viewers, and perhaps his strident advocacy for a particular ideological cause has led to this. I can't say. This is what Imran seems to be suggesting, what highly placed police sources have been telling him, who are close to the investigation. Thank you, Imran. Thank you very much for this. Let's open this up. I want to bring in both Mohandas Pai, Rashmi Samant, and Professor Uparijita, as well as, of course, Atiq Ur Rehman. Rashmi Samant, what do you believe? What do you believe is the reason for the squeamishness on behalf of some to calling Harsha's death a hate crime? Obviously, viewers, no one here wants to start any conflagration, but one needs to also set the record straight, and we have to all be mature about this, viewers. So, Rashmi Samant, why is there so much squeamishness?
Well, I don't want to mince my words right now, and I think it's going to be a little politically incorrect. But here goes nothing. He's had multiple fatwas against him since way back in 2015, and it was visible to public as early as yesterday and day before yesterday, when the same group, Bangalore Muslims, actually lauded the fact that he was killed, and they took credit for the fact by saying that they were one of the first people to actually call for his death. So there's that. And he's been active in all sorts of Hindu activism. He's been a very strong pillar within society, and that was very evident. It's very evident for anybody with a little common sense that his involvement in the hijab row, in the hijab protests, was the last straw, which sent the entire extremist gang after him and to come after him. And all this whataboutery, all of this virtue signaling, it's just people playing bad politics at this point. Karnataka is going to go for elections in the next 14 months, and it looks like all political parties, let me not mince my words here, all political parties are just trying to get their mileage out of it. A Hindu boy is dead, and all people can think of is sounding politically correct, throwing out a few fluffy words, and standing with the family. The last thing they need is someone to stand with them. I mean, where were they when he was being threatened way back in 2015? Where were they when he was being threatened through and through? And that's it. I mean, all of this sort of whataboutery is just a sign that the community has failed.
Madam, are you aware that he had 2 cases pending against him? One of them for...
I mean, is this like the best thing that you can say about a departed soul? I mean, have some shame.
I'm not saying that
You think it justifies murder? You believe in free justice and mob lynching?
Legitimizing and demonizing it.
Legitimizing murder at this point.
Nobody is justified. Don't talk nonsense.
No, Dr. Raman, Dr. Raman, that didn't sound very nice. No, that didn't sound very nice. Now, let me tell you.
Unacceptable.
Now, one second.
Speaking the language of that CJ Velraman.
Hinduism.
No, sir, Dr. Raman, Dr. Raman, okay, he had 2 cases, he might have had 4 cases. So did the other people have cases, but that doesn't mean... No, one minute, let me just step in here. Let me step in here, please. Let me step in here. Now, viewers, are we going to begin to rationalize hate? That's really worrisome. And Dr. Raman, that's a very slippery slope, because let me tell you that one of the accused in this case also was in jail earlier. Now, are we going to say that Harsha was within his rights, therefore, or any other else was within their rights to go and kill him? No, no, that's not the point, sir. The point was wrongly made. No, please come out and clarify what you were saying. Recalibrate, please. I'll give you the opportunity.
Rahul, she said that he was a flag bearer of Hinduism. And I'm pointing out that the police said that he has...
So let me ask you. One minute. Rashmi Samant, one second. Let me ask you then a basic question. There have been cases against many politicians. Listen to me. Like Lalu Prasad Yadav, who has also been convicted. Is he, in your words, still a flag bearer for Yadav assertion? Yes or no? OBC assertion? Yes or no? Mayawati has criminal cases against her. Is she a flag bearer for Dalit assertion? Yes or no?
That is for those respective groups.
That is for those. See, viewers, here it is. Here it is a clean attempt at using dog whistle to justify someone's death, and this scares me. Viewers, I told you we need to be very mature about this conversation. We have to measure our words. We have to be very careful. But if you suggest that a person who has cases against him cannot be a flag bearer for a particular ideology, then you have to accept that that applies also to Lalu Prasad Yadav, Mayawati, several other politicians who have been torch bearers for social reform movements and also social equity movements. So you have to be very, very careful. If you can't call them out, then you can't call out Harsha either. And that's wicked. That is very wicked. It's a wicked analogy to make. 1 minute. Let me bring in Mohandas Pai, respond to Dr. Sumanth C Rehman. He says we should be aware that he had cases against him. How can you call him a flag bearer for Hindu values? There you go.
Rahul, Raman is Hindu-phobic, is trying to cover up like some of these fascists who are trying to give an excuse for a cold-blooded murder. Cold-blooded murder by people who are conspired to kill him and kill him in the streets. The people who are conspired to kill him must be found out. The police have arrested. They have said very clearly there are 4 accused and there are 2 other conspirators. And what Imran has said is very clear. The police are circumspect because they're saying we want to find out the people behind this crime because these are only foot soldiers. There's a larger conspiracy we have to find out, and the police are very circumspect about coming out because they want to carry out the larger figures. Now, we are very clear in the last many days, there has been communal trouble in that particular area. There have been instances of stone throwing, instances of communal incitement in that particular area by a particular section of society. Police have to find out, and from the people who have been arrested, it's very clear where the communal crime is happening.
Well,
and I think that's what the police have to do. And
Mr.
let us wait
Rehman,
for that. But to whitewash that and to say his prior enmity, he was in jail, he was doing this, is total rubbish. This is the kind of...
In any case, even if he was somebody who was in jail, should he be lynched in an extrajudicial manner? No. Everyone deserves in our democracy. Mr. Atiq Ur Rehman. Okay, Mr. Rehman, very quick question to you, please. Let's stop speaking over each other.
Please ask the DIG, Mr. Thiagarajan.
Okay, one second. Dr. Sumanth C Rehman, you can try as much as you want, but, to allude to someone's background and then create some sort of ambiguous justification is not right. Now, you can quickly come out and say, I didn't mean it, and I'm sorry, I used the wrong analogy, and we can move on.
Police is saying this.
Okay, 1 second. Let me bring in Atiq Ur Rehman. Atiq Ur Rehman Saab, I just want to ask you a specific question, and this question goes out to you. Does it matter if Harsha had cases against him? Does it matter, sir? And it's a very, very simple and basic question. That he opposed those who were protesting in favor of the hijab. Does he deserve to die for that? Atiq Ur Rehman?
Rahul, as you said, it is a very sensitive case and sensitivity demands justice. I wish there would have been a law on lynching which the Supreme Court directed to this government, but the government refused to have it. If a law on lynching would have been there, Harsha would have been alive with his family today. Second important point here is that since 2014, NCRB data reveals hate crimes are rising. Why hate crimes are rising?
So you believe this is a hate crime?
BJP.
Rehman Saab, do you believe this is a hate crime? सबसे पहले तो ये clarify कर दीजिए. Do you believe this is a hate crime?
It is a hate crime and lynching. It amounts to lynching.
Okay,
yes,
so it is a hate crime. So there you go. Dr. Raman, at least Atiq Ur Rehman has had the courage of conviction to say it's a hate crime. He is not indulged in whataboutery. He said exactly what Rashmi Samant has said. Will you tell him?
Look, Rahul, all I'm saying is wait for the police to complete.
No, we are all waiting, sir. We are all waiting, but I can't understand. No, I mean...
I don't want to speculate. I don't think it is fair to speculate.
Sir, an individual who has been marked out for his posts in the past, killed by a group which the police has attested to, then had it out for him. What else is it?
Rahul, you can choose to call it whatever you want.
No, I'm not choosing to call it what I want, sir. I am only looking at the facts. No one here peddles, sir, half-truths. No one peddles half-truths. No one goes into whataboutery. We want to call out what an ambiguously, viewers, is a crime born out of some deep-seated hate. It may or may not be communal hate. Dr. Sumanth C Rehman will want to still err on caution. We've had Imran tell us the long gory history. Now we can viewers, we can allow for the ecosystem to dress this up, obfuscate, and continue to push the narrative in a direction that suits them. Or we can stand up and speak the truth so that we can confront this genie that is out of the bottle. Shehzad Poonawala, you want to say something very quickly? Yes, I need to move on.
Yeah, very quickly. Rahul, when Tabrez Ansari was killed, it was actually he was caught stealing. But does that justify his murder? When Junaid was killed, it was over a fight over a seat. But does that justify his murder? But in those instances, the same panelist came and said it is a hate crime against an entire community. But today, look at the amount of whitewashing. And even this Mr. Rehman, in the hijab of being a secularist, has said this is lynching. Sir, lynchings are spontaneous and organic. This is a deep-seated, organized hate crime, and we will not allow you to sit here, justify, legitimize and demonize the victim and try to whitewash the crime and the thought process behind the crime. This is an ideologically driven hatred and murder. Please do not put a burqa over it. Do not put a veil over it.
Over hate crime. You're a monopoly.
I know, and therefore don't categorize a planned, well-executed murder driven by ideological poison to a lynching.
Okay, let me bring in Rashmi Samant. 1 second.
Alive with his two young boys.
I'm 23 years old and he is 23 years old too. And I come from Karnataka, from that coastal belt. It could have been someone I knew. It could have been my brother. It could have been one of the people I went to school with. And this is what the community has become due to radical elements, and these have been festering over a period of time, and these have not been addressed due to the fear of, political correctness being called out in this sense because of Hinduphobic elements that have been festering over time in society. Please let me finish, okay? I do have a perspective here and I deserve to be heard.
NCRB states history.
Rahul, tell this guy to shut up, Rahul.
You date it. Date now. Be specific. Be specific.
I will tell this guy to shut up. He's none of his business.
I can't be any more specific than this. I can't be any more specific than this. The only thing is that a 23-year-old boy is dead because radical elements are being encouraged in society, and your whitewashing it endorses the radical elements. It endorses, it encourages them, and it is only going to get worse.
Okay, viewers, look. viewers, we can have this night after night. The principal responsibility for unearthing the truth lies with the state authorities. And the BJP government is also on test tonight, viewers. As Rashmi Samant said, all political parties, without exception, need to come out and answer. Is Harsha going to become yet another tool in the hands, and this time the most pliable tool in the hands of vested interests on either side of the divide, viewers? One side will use his regrettable death as further evidence in international fora to discredit, besmirch India's reputation. While another side will use this death to push the narrative that, at the end of the day, there is a false equivalence that is drawn between the death of a Hindu and the death of members of another community. But what will suffer is the truth. The purpose of this debate is to establish the truth. India Upfront deals only, viewers, in facts. And the facts are leaping out of the page into our faces. We can choose to look away, or we can look straight at them. Grasp them and do something about this. Dial back the hate. Do not allow these incidents to become catalysts for more tensions in society. I need to move on.